I'm gonna have to keep that in mind next time. I've done this. Good evening. Today is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and in the City Council chambers and remotely. We can be accessed through our Zoom link. We can also be accessed through our Facebook Lawrence City Council page and our YouTube Lawrence City Council page. And at this point, I will call the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Levy. Councilor Dela Cruz. Noted as absent. Councilor Russell.
Present.
Vice President Representative Estela Reyes.
Present.
Councilor Rodriguez. Noted as absent. Councilor Del Rosario.
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Present.
Councilor Infante.
Present.
Council President LaPlante.
Present. Before we stand up for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance, councilors, I've been working on this little project that some of you may be aware of that deals with some of our Lawrence residents who we have found to live a distinguished life, so much so that we have described something or named something after them. And on their birthdays, and today's there's two people's birthdays, and I'm looking in this direction. Councilor Del Rosario's birthday was last week, and of course, Councilor Infante is still looking for cake at this meeting, but a couple weeks ago. But in all seriousness, we have two individuals who we have celebrated in the past. One is Mike Murphy, who was he served in the Army in the Mexican border conflict, and also World War I. Came back, and then after he fought in World War I, came back to be a police officer. And there's a corner named after him at Essex and Broadway. That used to be Theater Row, and that was his beat. And there was the city council at that time named that corner on Essex and Broadway as Murphy Square. And the second, which is a little more contemporary and a little closer to all of us, I think, is Alex Jimenez. Alex Jimenez died in 2006, I believe, but his birthday was today. And I think if he was alive, he'd be 41 years old, which is amazing. His story is that he was called to serve in the Army. He went to Iraq to serve there. And in Iraq, he was with a patrol with 5 others. And he was in this place called the Triangle of Death in Iraq, where he was hit by some insurgents. He was missing, actually, for a year before they found his remains. And then we have named a bridge after him near the Lawrence General Hospital, the Canal Street, and the Spigot River. So if you go on there, you'll see that bridge. So I just think it's whenever there's somebody's birthday, I just wanted to, rather than celebrate their day of death, I wanted to celebrate their day of birth. And those are two people that has happened today. So with that, I'm going to ask us all to rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father of State Rep Frank Moran, former President, City Council President.
Correct. We will be offering this moment of silence to Representative Moran and his father. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, Representative, thank you so much for, that was very well thought through and thought of. Thank you for that advice. At this point, we do have minutes for city council approval. So we have before us minutes. We're going to go through each one individually, I think, for ease for the clerk. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of October 4th, 2022. Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Representative Reyes. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Present. Roll call, please, clerk.
Counselor Infante.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counsel Rodriguez, noted as absent. Counsel Vice President Representative Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Russell.
Present.
Counselor Dela Cruz, noted as absent. Counselor Levy. What? I'm so sorry. Council President LaPlante.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. The next one is the executive session minutes from October 18. Is there a motion to adopt those minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion. Seeing none, I'm just going to ask the clerk to call the roll. Clerk?
Counselor Levy. Counselor Maria Dela Cruz is noted as absent. Counselor Russell.
Present.
Council Vice President Representative Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez is noted as absent. Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Infante.
Yes.
Council President LaPlante.
Yes. The next, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of September 18th executive session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Counselor Infante.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez, noted as absent. Council Vice President Estela Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Russell.
Present.
Counselor Maria Dela Cruz, noted as absent. Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Thank you. Council President LaPlante.
Yes.
I'm sorry. That's
Okay,
my
I'm going to keep voting when I have to. The next one is minutes from the executive, from the September 22nd, the executive session. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by the Vice President. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Counselor Levy. Counselor Dela Cruz, noted as absent. Counselor Russell.
Yes. Present. I'm
Present.
sorry.
There you go.
Present.
Council Vice President Representative Reyes. Counselor Rodriguez is noted as absent. Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Infante.
Yes.
Council President LaPlante.
Yes, that is it for,
Executive session.
the 218.
The 218.
Which one, October? I'm looking to adopt the minutes from executive session from September 18th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Infante.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez is noted as absent. Council Vice President Representative Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Russell.
Present.
Counselor Dela Cruz is noted as absent. Counselor Levy. Council President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, we're going to do public participation. We do have one person who is wishing to speak this evening. Mr. Molly? Name and address, record. Go ahead.
Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable member. The citizen of our city facing important emergency because of mismanagement, abuse rights of our citizen by the head of the Lawrence Parking Department, Mr. David Rodriguez. This administration need to fire head of the parking department, David Rodriguez, immediately to end mismanagement in the crisis of Lawrence Parking Department. In this important election year, we the citizens are united to support our police officers union. We demand the best contract for Lawrence Police now. Million thanks to our DPW workers. Lawrence is a beautiful city because of your hard work, and we support your union. Outstanding inspection department employee must know that we support their union. Lawrence Teachers Union, with the 83,000 citizens, we are behind you in a search for the new superintendent. Lawrence, the best example of the respect for union rights. Tonight, we welcome our hero firefighters, this champion of the first responder. Thank you for your sacrifices. Remember your campaign promise. Save Lawrence, prosper Lawrence, only possible if we support Lawrence Police and best contract. Administration need to listen to outcry of our citizens about the parking mismanagement and crisis, and fire Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that ends public participation. Mr. Marley, your name and comments and address are being submitted to the record. So, we do have one more. Mr. Russell, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Council President, for allowing me to speak during public participation. My name is Councilor at Large Richard Russell, residing 34 Cross Street. On March 29, 2023, Governor Healy signed a supplemental budget bill which contained, among other things, an extension of the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting laws. She extended it to March, or it was extended to March 31st, 2025. Specifically, this further extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of public bodies physically present at meeting locations, and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. The language does not make any substantive changes to the open meeting law other than extending the expiration date of the temporary provisions regarding remote meetings from 2023 to 2025. Other information supplied to me by Councilor Rodriguez seems to imply that we, the Lawrence City Council, have the option of either adopting or ignoring the legislation of the legislation from the Mass Legislature. In my humble opinion, we should ignore it, as the council and committee meetings are the only time that some of our constituents have to meet with us. Unlike our state legislators, we have no district offices, or for that matter, a location at City Hall that they can meet with us to discuss issues. It is hard to convey issues, problems, and concerns with us over the telephone or by email. Direct contact, whether some of us like it or not, is what we are paid to do. And remember that the councilor's weekly salary next year will be going up by $384 per paycheck. In my mind, and to some other voters, it will appear that some of us may be doing even less for more. I recommend that we take the option of returning to regular-style pre-COVID council meetings. Nothing good can be said about the fiasco of hybrid or Zoom-style meetings that we've all had to deal with over the past 2 years. Lastly, you discussed birthdays of veterans. It is rather ironic that Marine Greg Kent died 55 years and a day prior to the citation presentation I made to Hoppy Curran on 3/29/23 on Vietnam Veterans Day. I know Greg. I ran track against him. He was a loss to the community. Thank you for allowing me for my comments.
Thank you very much, Councilor Russell. Again, so all this is going to the clerk for the record. At this point,
Council President.
I was going to take a document up that's from the audience that you have a reason to rise. Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes, sir. So something simple, Council President.
Sure.
And through you, and thank you for the opportunity. We're talking about birthdays, but sometimes there's celebrations that we also as a city need to celebrate. Today, it's 1 year that Kelly Fraser has been as a homeless coordinator, and I think she should be recognized the great job that she has done for this year. So Kelly, congratulations for being with us for a year. Hopefully you'll be here long enough so we can take care of this.
That certainly was in order, Councilor Del Rosario, and welcomed. So excellent, excellent. Congratulations, Ms. Frazier, for your tenacity and passion for the job. At this point, we do have a document you're not going to see on the agenda. It's document 4023. It deals with aggregation. I just think it's a Scrivener's error. There was some confusion regarding the public hearing, et cetera. But we do have some guests we would benefit from listening about the issue, asking questions if we have them, so that it'll set us up for a decision and a vote. I'm going to ask our state senator to lead us off, to kind of introduce the discussion, and I'll let him take the lead, and we'll follow where this goes. Welcome back, Senator Payano. It is so good to see you.
Thank you, Council President. It's great to be before my fellow councilors, Rep. Reyes. So I wouldn't be me if I didn't say that I'm definitely disappointed that this wasn't on the agenda, but I'm glad that we still have an opportunity to discuss it. So many of you have come before me to talk to me about the issue of the cost in electricity and what can we do, what can the state do to try to solve that and try to ensure that our residents that, many of them are working 2 jobs and have seen an increase of almost 40% in their utility bills, that they're able to keep some money, and that they're finding ways that the state and the city can help support that. So what is being sort of brought forth today in front of you is a project that Mayor Brian DePena is taking on. We discussed it several months ago. We have some incredible people that will come up, introduce themselves, and talk to you more about this project. But I think it's a very unique opportunity for the city to engage in a process where they'll be able to advocate for our residents. I will say Haverhill has already, a couple of years ago, they've already gone through the process that we're going to present, and this plan is something that they're executing. Methuen is in the process. They got this approved by their city council in December. So they got the plan approved in December, and now it's at the Department of Public Utilities, and we're hoping that we'll be able to kind of further that along a little bit more. So I will give the floor to Octavian, who will speak a little bit more on sort of the efforts from Mayor DePena's administration, and then we'll bring up our guests. And hopefully I'll be able to come in and give some type of closure. Octavian?
Council President, members of the City Council, good evening. I would like to be brief, so this will not be tedious, and grant the opportunity to our guests to come before you. I just, for the record, and so so the public can understand basically what municipal aggregation is. The explanation is very simple. Municipal aggregation is the process by which a municipality, meaning a city or a town, purchases electricity in bulk from a competitive supplier on behalf of the residents and businesses within the community. This is what it's simply all about. I would like to take a moment to, first of all, thank our state senator, Mr. Pavel Payano, because once we were informed of this opportunity, and I would like to also mention that Anil Nafkar, that is with us right here, the advisor to the mayor on energy and sustainable development, we have basically started a conversation with our senator, and he was aggressive in participating and also giving us as staff the support. As you know, utility cost is very high, We have to do everything under our power to bring the best opportunity and lower and cost savings to our community, and that's the reason why this administration, the Brian A. DePena administration, decided to assume and take the lead and advocate for this opportunity for the residents. Having said this, I would like to invite our guest. Sorry, Octavian Spanner, I haven't met you folks, but go ahead and introduce yourself to the council. And
thanks very much. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, councilors. My name is Larry Cretion, and I'm the executive director of the nonprofit Green Energy Consumers Alliance. We're based in Boston and Providence, serving both states. We have a variety of programs to serve the mission of trying to speed the transition to a low-carbon future. We do advocacy primarily at the state level. And with me tonight is Michaela Hundress McCarthy, who's our finance director and also our renewable energy program director as well. So as was just mentioned, aggregation is when a community like Lowell or where I live, Quincy, purchases the electricity supply in bulk for the benefit of the ratepayers in the community. What's very important to realize is we're not talking about taking over the wires and the poles and the substations and and all that. We're talking about choosing where the electricity supply comes from. National Grid would continue to deliver the power distributed through their wires. They would do the billing and the metering and all that. You'd get one bill per month as always. Sometimes it's called Community Choice Aggregation or CCA or Community Choice Energy CCE. It's all the same thing. We call it Green Municipal Aggregation. Our organization, it's aggregation using the municipal aggregation law, and we put green in front of it because it presents an opportunity to add more renewable energy content than is required by the state standard. And the amount of that additional renewable energy is subject to the city or town approval. And some communities add 1% more renewable energy. Some communities add a lot more, like 50% more. The general model is about 5% more renewable energy than required by law. So this graph is a little bit busy, but if Lawrence was to do this, everybody who is on National Grid's basic service would be in the program by default, but they could easily opt out at any time without penalty. There's even a 30-day period of which the program doesn't start until people have received a letter. Then they can opt out by mail, by telephone, or by website. Consumers can also choose to opt out, go to a competitive power supplier. If they're on a competitive power supplier, they can opt in, and we'll come to that towards the end. Some people choose to what we call opt up. They can go to 100% renewable energy if they want to. And then some people want to just buy the cheapest product available, which is doesn't have any more renewable energy than required by law. So those are all, the point is this is very consumer friendly, and that's important for all communities, but at the very end I'll explain why it's most important here in Lowell. Our organization helped develop the model of green municipal aggregation along with Good Energy, which is a consultant that works with cities and towns. And on the left-hand side of that is a list of the cities and towns in Massachusetts where we're directly involved with. And then in May, we're going to start up with all these cities and towns in Rhode Island. And as you can see, the cities and towns are all kinds of demographics. Some are very working class. Quincy is in line, waiting for Department of Public Utilities approval. But you can see, there's other communities that are a little bit more affluent. But the mix is available to everybody. So this is a graphic that sort of shows how it works. On the right-hand side, you're in control, the community. You would have a contract, if you can see the bottom right, with a company. Could be Good Energy, quite frankly, we have done very well working with them. We don't have any contracts with them, but we tend to work together to serve communities. They would help shepherd the plan and the approval through the Department of Public Utilities. They would choose the electricity supplier. They would put it out to bid, and the competitive power suppliers in the middle. That's the company that's going to provide the electricity to the community. They will provide the renewable energy that's required by state law. Where we come in as an organization, as a nonprofit at the very top, we add more renewable energy than required by law, and our contract would be with that supplier. The supplier is not, no one contracts with the supplier until the chief executive of the city says it's okay. So everyone's interests are aligned. You can put it out to bid. If you don't like the bid, you don't have to sign anything. This map shows color-coded, showing how green the aggregations are. There's about 170 communities that are doing aggregation right now. There's been a big spurt of them over the last 5 years. Right now, there's about 30 communities waiting for Mass Department of Public Utilities approval. So I think within 5 years, all the communities that can aggregate in the state will do so, except for the municipal utilities that exist. There's 41 of them. Why is this good? Because at any level of green, it speeds the transition to a zero carbon future, which is what we need to do. Nobody is subsidizing this. If you don't want to participate, you're not subsidizing it. And it's equitable because everyone gets the benefit of the renewable energy, and they can opt out if they want to. And they can go to a lower price product if they want to. It's scalable. As many people in Lawrence that want to participate, we can take all comers, more communities can come online, and it can be implemented very much in the near term. The Mass Department of Public Utilities has been taking a long time to approve these things, but Governor Healy has appointed new commissioners, and we're hoping that the approvals would come faster. So if you all wanted to support aggregation soon, I think you could be up and running, knock on wood, in about a year. This graph is a little busy. I'll send you the slides, but the blue line that goes up and down every 6 months, that is the price of what National Grid would charge. It fluctuates quite a bit, and it's usually higher in the winter. This winter, we all got socked. I'm a National Grid customer. It went to 34 cents per kilowatt hour for the winter months. In Lowell, where Michaela lives, it's 14 cents. The difference of 20 cents on an average consumer is about $600 this past winter. And all the other communities I showed you that we're serving were all in that range of somewhere between 10 and I think the highest might have been 17 cents, way less than National Grid. The reason National Grid is so high, it's not because they're stupid or evil necessarily, it's that they had to buy according to state rules at a certain time, and that's around the time when things got really hairy in Europe because of the invasion, the attack on Ukraine by Russia. That just created turmoil in the energy markets, and so that they had to buy in order to serve power for the winter. Aggregations like Lawrence's, you can pick the time you go out to bid and time the market well, and a consultant like Good Energy would walk you through the process. And if for some reason the time wasn't good, you delay it and you put it out to bid when it's a better time. That is why this next graph, next slide shows that before the winter, we proved that communities that were going green saved an average of 1.3 cents per kilowatt hour before the price spike. 1.3 cents per kilowatt hour doesn't sound like a lot, but that we pay by the kilowatt hour. That's $78 per year of savings for power that's significantly cleaner than state law. But then once the price spike came in, it's 3.3 cents per kilowatt hour. So that would have saved on average $200 per year. We cannot guarantee that the aggregation's always going to save money, but usually the aggregations do a 3-year contract. So that's, if you could picture this, that's 6 times National Grid's going to change its price. What we've seen is the aggregation usually wins about 5 times out of the 6. And over the 6 months, the six price changes, 36 months, the aggregation has won every time. So it's not guaranteed, because sometimes if the market goes down, National Grid might get lucky. But here's the thing, if everybody in Massachusetts did aggregation, they would have been saving over $200 million before the rate spike, and now $500 million since the rate spike. Hopefully, the rates seem to be going down. Let's hope it's getting back to normal. This is very important. Maura Healey, when she was Attorney General, commissioned 3 reports showing how when consumers went out on their own and signed a contract with what's called a competitive electricity supplier, they were paying over 5 years $426 million more in Massachusetts, an average of $85 million per year, more than if they stayed with National Grid or Eversource, depends on the town. And what they found was low-income consumers are twice as likely to pay higher rates than other customers. Who do those competitive power suppliers go after? They're predatory. They go after low-income folks. They go after people of color. They go after people for whom English is not their first language. They go after senior citizens. The Attorney General has great data on this, and you can actually dig in and you can see that communities like Lawrence are high up on the list of contributing to that $426 million in overcharges. So what the point we're trying to make here is aggregation is the antidote to that situation. When the community aggregates, you're still working with competitive power suppliers, but you're in control, and consumers win. And you're the advocate, as the senator said, and it's the state's overseeing the program, you're overseeing the program, everyone's incentives are the same, and so it's much better than when consumers try to shop on their own. And you know, people are getting phone calls, they're getting direct mail, and most of the time they're getting ripped off. So you have something here you can bring back to your constituents and should work over time. Once you set it up, it runs without much effort on your part. Any questions?
Is that the presentation?
Yes, it is.
Know that we're done. I do see there's a few counselors who've got some
So essentially,
questions.
it would be that the council would take a vote.
I want to allow that to go forward, but I just want to make sure, Senator Payano, you're kind of like the ringmaster here. Do you want any other presentation before we ask questions?
Yeah.
Or how do you want to do
There's
that?
just one more piece that I just want
Okay.
to make sure we say, just like the process of it, that essentially council would vote, mayor would do a plan, and we would come back.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. So the process, as he was suggesting, is you folks could authorize the mayor to go forward to hire a consultant who would develop a plan for how the aggregation would work. By state law, every community has to develop a written plan. That could come back to the council for a review. There would be public comment on that plan. And then the plans are, companies like Good Energy have a lot of experience. As I said, 170 communities have already done this. All the plans are mostly alike, but you can customize them. And so you can make sure, for example, that there's a lot of public education components to this, so your constituents will know what's going on. Make sure that it's produced in different languages and anything else that's important to you. But then once you approve it, then the consultant on your behalf takes it to first the Department of Energy Resources for a quick look. They'll look at it, they'll sign off on it, then it goes to the Mass Department of Public Utilities, which gives it a very thorough look. And it used to take just a few months, but recently, under the previous administration, it's stretched out. I think it'll be faster, but the point is, there's a lot of eyes on this. You're going to look at it, the mayor's going to look at it, then the Mass Department of Energy, then the Mass DPU. Then once it's put out to, approved by the Mass Department of Public Utilities, the consultant on the city's behalf will initiate a procurement process. It's managed competition. They'll put it out there. The companies that are qualified to look for this will bid on it, and then the consultant will advise the mayor on, which company to choose, and whether it should be a one-year term, a two-year term, or a three-year term. And then it's established, and then they'll pick a date for the program to start. There's a 30-day opt-out period. A mailing goes out, tells people they can opt out at any time, then they can continue to opt out even after the program starts at any time without penalty. It's probably important to you to know that the consultant, almost every community hires a consultant. They get paid a fee once the program starts, so they're working on contingency. They don't get paid until you decide that you want to start the program. So there's no payment from the city to the consultant at all. They get paid once the electricity starts flowing. The only community that does it in-house as a public agency is the cities and towns, the towns on Cape Cod. It's called the Cape Light Compact. But otherwise, 150 communities all use consultants. So that's the process.
Thank you. Senator Payano, did you wish to take council questions at this point?
Yes, please.
All right, so I heard that the Vice President wished to ask questions. There was somebody over here. Who was it? So you're good? Okay. Anybody else over here? No? Okay.
My question has been answered in the last portion of the presentation.
Oh, very good. No other questions. I did have, Councilor Rodriguez. Sir.
To you, Council President. So he just explained the process as of how we're going to proceed. What would be the next step for the council? I mean, do we have an item?
So we do have an item, and before you arrived, we had just explained that there was a little the communication glitch on this, that we're allowing the conversation to take place tonight to prepare ourselves for a vote in a couple of weeks, which is my only question at this point, which is when we do take that vote in our next meeting, what will that be? What will that vote be for? What will we be voting? What's the question?
And actually, we could look at the resolution, but it's essentially a resolution authorizing the mayor to proceed in hiring a consultant to proceed with developing the aggregation.
Resolution to hire a consultant to proceed with the aggregation.
Correct. And, you probably want to cite Chapter 164, which is the Mass General Laws statute for municipal aggregation.
Any other, Counselor, I kind of interjected myself. Are there any other questions from you? Okay. Yeah. Any other questions by councilors? Just one question. You're with what organization, sir?
Green Energy Consumers Alliance.
And give us, I don't think I've got your name.
Larry Cretion,
Larry, Mr. Cretion?
C-H-R-E-T-I-E-N, correct.
So just so we're clear a little bit, thank you, Mr. Cretion. So your role in this, are you a consultant at some point? Would you be somebody that could be hired? I mean, what is your involvement in this process?
Essentially, right now, I'm sort of a proponent. I'm a cheerleader, encouraging you to do this based upon the data that we see, because we're involved in this. We don't necessarily have any role here. You would hire a consultant who's essentially a broker that helps you hire the electricity supplier. We are not either the consultant that you would hire or the electricity supplier. If there's a role for us at all, it would be with respect to providing the additional renewable energy to make it greener. That's what we've done for other cities and towns. And that would come in at the very end of the process.
I appreciate that, and I guess my follow-up question, I hate to be so candid about this. Your compensation for this today, is the Commonwealth, for example, providing some resources here to us? Or how is your organization benefiting from this presentation before the council?
Good question. Well, there's a organization, a foundation called the Barr Foundation that is very much committed to seeing to it that Massachusetts meets its climate goals equitably. That's what they do. And they've given us a grant to promote aggregation because they like the results of what has been happening. And so right now I'm on their time, and that's it.
Appreciate that. And one question that someone before this meeting started off, and I don't know how much truth there is in this, was wanted to know how this would low-income discount rate customers. So
They
I'm
would
not
still
sure.
get a discount as always on the whole rate, just like they have been with National Grid. That does not change.
And Neil, did you wish to ask a question or provide any other?
I wanted to just add a few statements. I actually spearheaded this whole program in Andover. 2 years worked on it and got it there. So, and I'm working to help the mayor and all of you. And so I think this is a great program. I just want to say that I'm here all the time. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. I've even created a website called lawrencecca.org, which has all this information and much more. So thank you. I don't want to take much time.
No, we do appreciate that. And seeing that there's no other questions or comments, we do appreciate the presentation this evening. We will expect to take a vote on this, councilors, at our next city council meeting. Again, Councilor Payano, did you want to wrap this up?
Sure. So,
Senator Payano.
former counselor is fine as well. No, I just want to thank Larry and the team and Alex Goldstein. We have, I think Lawrence is blessed to have a lot of individuals that are not from here, that are really cheerleading us and want us to succeed. Also, I want to thank the Congresswoman's office. So originally, I wish I could tell you that this was something that I found out myself, but this came from Congresswoman Trahan's office, this idea, and I presented this idea both to Mayor Perry from Methuen and Mayor DePena. What I would ask you, I won't be here at our meeting coming up, but I would ask you to hopefully take this project as your own. I think that this is a really amazing opportunity to ensure that our residents see some good savings. These savings they will not see tomorrow, but they might see it a year from now or a little bit after. But it requires work from us, from you councilors and from Mayor DePena's office to try to move it as quickly as possible. Especially, some good news that's coming is that in May, we might be seeing rates go down, anywhere between like 20–40%. So that's good, and I would hate for, the goal is for us to do this at a time when we might be able to see some huge savings. I'll say that I hope all of you are able to take it on. I'm here before you today since I was one of the counselors that put it forward. So, that's my interest, which is just to see Lawrence move forward, and I think the folks that are behind us, that's their goal as well. So, thank you for your time. I think now this is in your hands, and I would ask again, because I know how things are sometimes when in any type of bureaucracy, it is really easy for anything to be held or for things to slow down unless there's not an advocate or a proponent within the council that's able to move it forward. And I hope after tonight we'll have all 9 councilors will be seen as advocates for this. And for any of you that are perhaps questioning, what would this plan look like and might have certain insecurities about it, remember that essentially after the authorization, it's not like this is a done deal. You still have an opportunity to look at the plan, and without the council's approval, the plan doesn't move forward. So this is, I don't see, if this was before us today, I would say that, that for us to take a vote on it. Yeah, so I wish you luck in 2 weeks. Thank you for your time, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Senator. We do appreciate that. At this point, I'm going to look toward Representative Reyes, who wants to take an item out of order.
Thank you, Councilor President. The first item is 8423, out of order.
So move.
There's a motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Levy. All in favor say aye. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. This is off the table. I do believe that this out of order. Have you already voted for it? All right, so committee report, Councilor Vice Chair Rodriguez. 8423.
Yes, thank you, Council President. The Budget and Finance met and discussed item 8423. It was sent out to the full council with a fair recommendation And I would like to make this as a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by the vice chair, seconded by the counselor from District C. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Council Vice President.
Motion?
Motion to take document 8023 made and seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Vice Chair?
Sure. It's 8023, right? Yes, at the Budget and Finance Committee, we discussed this item, send it to the full council with a fair recommendation. I would like to make this a form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by the representative. Discussion?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
I would like just to expand the opportunity to the chief of the the fire chief that is here with us, and allow him to explain the benefit of this grant.
Welcome, Chief.
Well, good evening. Caught me off guard when you did that out of, thank you. This grant, 8023, is for $831,818.18. What this is, assistance to firefighter grant. It's a federal grant. Excuse me. And it allows us to get the majority of the money that we need to purchase a new quint for Ladder 4 South Broadway. What that is, a quint is a ladder truck that also has a pump and tank on it. It'll give us water in that station. It'll improve the ability of the firefighters when they show up first in that district. With that truck, they'll now have the option to either attack the fire should something need to be attacked right away, somebody's life is in jeopardy, or to go on to do ladder work. It gives them that option. It also gives us full credit now for that station with the insurance underwriters, so that there's water in that station, so all of our stations now have water, so we'll have a better chance at getting our ISO rating down to a Class 1, which lowers everybody's fire insurance ratings. This is we were actually quite astonished to get this grant at the end of the year. We didn't think we were going to get it. We actually submitted for next year's grants and submitted it all over again, and then the month later we got the grant. So we were quite pleased and surprised at the same time, but sometimes cities give the money back. And we got lucky, we benefited at this time. I'm especially happy about this because this is also the last of our in-service fire trucks since I've been chief that we will have replaced. So that'll be the entire fleet we've been replaced in the 8 years. Well, it's gonna take 9 years. But I have been able to find a truck that we can get in the $1.4 million range, so we do still have to provide $600,000, and that is because one, trucks cost a lot, and they only gave us X amount of dollars, but we also have to, part of the grant, provide training and certification for the firefighters driving the truck. That's part of the safety grant.
I made the motion. I would like to say.
Any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Item is passed. Any other? Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Vice Chair?
Thank you.
The Budget and Finance met, discussed this item, send it to the full council with a fair recommendation, and I would like to make this as a form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made by the Vice Chair, seconded by the Representative. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Counselor, yes. Can I get a motion to take document 8823 out of new business to move to old business? So,
Second.
There's a motion to deal with document 8823. It actually, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at document, as you see in that line, document 41122. It is properly posted. This information is properly on the agenda. So with that, you just want to take it out of order. There's a motion to take this document out of order. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Counselor?
So, the motion now is to send the document 411 to all business. So we're just gonna open to the first.
Do you have? 88?
I guess going forward, we just will not have a document number 88-23. We'll just-
The deal?
Yeah.
That is part of it. So is all business?
It should just be as old business, you're right.
Okay, then we're just gonna open and that one at 411, then we.
It will be now,
New
it's not.
business, it's
Yeah.
new business.
If you look on, it's under 88-23 as new business.
What I don't understand, and through you, Council President.
Sure.
If we already, why is this new business? If we already discussed this in our committee as a budget and finance.
Sure.
And we approved it as a full council meeting. Sure. Why is this as a new business?
There was an amendment at the meeting that whatever, there was 26 or 27 documents, they were going to come back before us, before a vote, so we have another opportunity to take a closer, granular look at what the money was being spent on. This is the first out of the, I forget, there's 26 or 27. What we're trying to do here is, I think that the administration is looking to move on this as expeditiously as possible, and that in order to do that, it appears as though there is a willingness by at least some of the council to try to have a vote this evening on this matter. And so the item as 8823, we should have some sort of demarcation, if you will, that identifies that this is a subset of that $16 million, right? But the idea here, I think, is to see if we can get a vote this evening on the 2.5 million that previously or maybe currently looked on as 8823. That's the issue.
To you, Council President.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Sure. Well, I would like to clarify a few things in the way that I understand it. I'm a little, I don't know. So the way that I understand item, what was the item number? 41122. Is that we did not approve the $16 million. We did not. Instead, what we did, we approved 26 different items and subdivide the $16 million into 26 items that now we are seeing one by one. That's what we did. We did not approve the $16 million, and we need to be clear with that, because if we approve the $16 million, we wouldn't have this item in front of us today. That's simple as that. We took a vote to actually have a second bite to the apple, which means that each subsection of that $16 million have a name today. A, B, C, D, and you go to the alphabet until the 26th item, and that's what we have today. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing this. That's why, to crystal clear this thing, for today and the future, I think that what we need to do is to put the item with the A, B, C, D, E, and continue on until we finish up with the subsections of the main item, which is the $16 million when you add it up to the total. And that way we clear with the whole thing. And we don't have to add new items to the agenda. Instead, we can put it as an old business, but we still have to have a vote. That $16 million could be reduced to $10 million if we do not come up with a vote that is required for each subsection That's why I keep on saying, when the following day I hear people saying, we approved $60 million, we did not.
We did,
No, we didn't, because we have to take a vote today.
we did. We,
So if we clear the whole process, I think it will be easier for everybody to understand the whole thing.
Counselor Vice President.
So my recollection about that vote was that we approved the 60 million, and we request as a counselor to be divided as a bunch and come here in front of us every time they are gonna be taking some money out of the $16 million. So we did approve it.
Let me ask you a question very quickly. Let's say perhaps that you don't have the vote to approve this $2.5 million. Is that what $60 million approved? No, it's not. If you don't have the vote tonight to approve the $2.5 million, the $60 million was not approved.
Through you, Mr. President.
Hold on a second. Here you go.
So, go ahead.
Counselor Del Rosario.
And I, out of that meeting, I went out with a confusion, and I had a discussion with one of my colleagues, and then I actually called Octavian Spanner, Mr. Spanner, on that night, and I say, honestly speaking, I said, they flipped you over. They flipped you over. Whoever made the amendment, which if I don't recall, and if I'm not recalling, Council President flipped the whole page over. That means that every time you come here, you got to start all over, and this is going to go down to Budget and Finance, and don't go back, and whatever plans they have and whatever institution they have to do the whole process all over. And at the end of the day, if we don't agree, it's not approved. And I actually told you, I said, so you let that flipped over. I guess you didn't, at that point, it was too fast or whatever, but he got what he wanted it. I'm assuming, because that's what he wanted it, nothing against it. And you thought, or we thought, that we approved it, but he flipped it the way he wanted it, so that's why we're here.
So there's a matter before us right now for $2.5 million. We're looking to have a vote on it this evening for expenditures of the LRA. Is there any objections for the vote this evening on that? Seeing none, is there a motion at this point to approve the $2.5 million to the LRA? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by.
Discussion.
Motion, they're looking for a second. Motion made by the representative, was seconded by Councilor Infante.
Discussion.
Now there's discussion, and I'm looking at Councilor Del Rosario, then Councilor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Council President. So every time, are we going to have the same thing, to suspend this and reapprove it or pre-approve it, instead of just change it like Councilor Rodriguez said, put 41122 up and divide it in A, B, C, and D right away, so we don't have to go through this all this time? Because it's going to happen again. Then we're going to delay the process, and we're going to force a vote instead of just dividing it, and they can take the sums from A and then B and C and D. Why don't we amend that and put it the way that we thought we vote on it?
Councilor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Council President. This is a federal fund. We have a way to do this right. Let's not keep on flipping things around. Let's do the right thing here. We have an item in front of us. People, let's do the right thing. Let's suspend the rules as we're supposed to avoid sending it to committee. Right away, we're gonna have it here. We discuss the item today and take the proper vote. I have never seen an item being changed from new business to old business, because it's not old business. Let's not fool us. It is new business. It's on writing, it's on paper. Let's do the right thing. Let's suspend the rules to not be sent to committee, and then.
There's a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Okay.
Councilor Infante, any discussion on this matter? Suspend the rule, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the rule is suspended, it's not going to committee.
Yeah, now they take a vote with the item. I would like to make a motion to approve the 2.5 on the item that is supposed to be here. No, so what
You already have a motion on the floor. I do want to recognize Councilor Russell is waiting patiently. Councilor Russell.
I have two questions on this issue. First of all, how imperative is it that the LRA get the $2.5 million? And second, are we gonna have to go back to the original issue and subtract the $2.5 million from the $60 million and start all over again?
chunks. That people are able to understand exactly what the money's being spent on. There is an understanding that we're trying to move, I think, collectively, as quickly as we possibly can, what the mayor's trying to accomplish. We're trying to get this money on the street to get projects done. And I think that we're trying to find that balance of getting the speed with getting the opportunity to review, and that's the connection right there. So what we're doing this evening is that we're about to take a vote. We have our documentation here. It is for 2.5. It is on our agenda. It is broken out in a 2 or 3 page memo. And so that's where we are. Councilor Russell, are you, okay?
Before we take a vote, I would like.
Sure, Councilor Rodriguez wishes to have the floor.
I would like to open the floor and provide an opportunity to sponsors to explain to us, from the memo that we originally have, what the $2.5 million allocations means to the LRA. So how the LRA gonna have the function of, are they gonna be the administrators? So, yes, I don't have the memo in front of me, and I apologize.
Okay,
It's not there.
I can provide, Counselor. I'm going to read it. It's very brief. Okay, on February 21st, 2003, the City Council unanimously approved the mayor's request to transfer the $16 million free cash funds to special projects with a stipulation to require each of the 26 subsections outlined in the distribution of funds proposal to return to the City Council for final approval once the administration scrutinizes and selects each project. Mayor DePena is now requesting the City Council to approve the allocation of $2.5 million of those funds to the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority in support of the following activities. One is for the elimination of blighted conditions or engage in urban renewal projects as defined by Mass General Law 128B, 4, Section 4 and Section 5, which includes commercial, industrial, institutional, governmental, open space, residential, and vacant land uses within the confines of the city. This is the mission and statement of the Redevelopment Authority established by the state. Now, the activities are for the LRA to hire or contract an architectural firm. Basically, a synopsis is to identify within the city confines areas that are blighted, underutilized, and bring them back to use. The reasoning behind this is, as I mentioned during my presentation, the city has approximately close to $1 billion, $960 million in properties that has been tax exempted, that are not paying taxes, and we didn't have any plan to recover that gap. So the purpose of this study is to identify different areas. The main focus is to have more commercial than residential. However, we do have to consider the areas that are considered transit-oriented development. The LRA board has welcomed in the last meeting that they voted on last week to, once the city council approves, the mayor's recommendation that they will work diligently to hire a consultant, preferably an institution of higher learning, that is experienced in urban development, to work on this plan. One of the other issues are also good to mention is for us to pursue, as you know, the LRA board has the powers to reclaim certain properties based on eminent domain powers. There's a process that needs to be followed. Obviously, the intent is to work with the property owners that are responsible for rehabilitating these abandoned properties. We even have certain nonprofit organizations that have been sitting on properties for a long time and without any definite plans. We are working with existing developers that do have properties. One of them, I think, recently has been called upon, that we're meeting with them to see what are the plans to redevelop and so we can increase our tax base. The other use of the funding is to support small businesses, especially those that are transitioning from small to from startup to growth level. This is very important because they are not taking advantage of the different certification or accreditation that both the state as well as the federal government is offering. There's different opportunities for growth for them to be competitive not only in the region but the entire state and beyond the state, and these are local companies that are working as subcontractors for other larger companies without giving the equal opportunity. So that's also a focus of the funding. There's a request also to use these funds for the creation of a redevelopment authority gap loan. This would be most likely a microloan because we have other agencies that are going to apply that are working with businesses, with larger businesses, and we are trying to get to focus on some of the microloans to help the smaller business. And finally, you can't implement any project without focusing on a marketing strategy to do outreach, to invite these corporations and investors as well as absentee landlords to work with the LRA.
Well, a couple of questions out of that. It is important to recognize that the LRA, the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority, it is they work there on a volunteer basis.
Yes.
And I don't know, do they receive a stipend? No, okay. This is one of the board that are completely on a volunteer basis. This sounds like a lot of work for a volunteer board.
Sorry?
This sounds like a lot of work for a board that is going to that is on a volunteer basis. I mean, are you guys understanding the scope of work and the amount of work that they're going to be doing?
Yes, and we have provided, we placed a provision in the funds, and good that you mentioned this. We expect the LRA board to assume more than an advisory role because they're not an advisory role. That's just part of their duties. Their duties is basically, they're working with an attorney. They have an attorney working for the board, that is Mr. Brian Corrigan, and they also have a administrative staff that provide, but now we need to make it function as a really redevelopment authority. And yes, the answer is yes. Now, the total amount of funds that we are requesting is not a one-time, is a one-time fee that would be divided in 2 fiscal years, as you recall. So it would be 1 point plus in 1 year and the following year, and that is manageable for the organization.
So, and perhaps that a property was took over by any process that is available through the LRA. It is important to recognize that the LRA is their own authority, so they have their own duties and powers that they can execute things, as you mentioned. But they also are an independent board that can do things independently from the city, and that independency has to be maintained. Are we aware that any type of property or any type of situation that they do, they have to do it independently based on the law and regulations that, you know,
yes, they have to follow the rule. They have to follow the rules and regulations established by Mass General Law.
And we also understand as a city, as administration, that any property that they take is their property, not the city owns property.
Right now, they are in possession of a series of properties, including some of the easements, as well as the Pacific Mills is under their control, and I think among others. We can provide you with that list if it's on.
And I know a lot of property that they own, but I mean, I just want to make sure that we understand that they're gonna still be in the on, and that's have to stay like that.
Yes, there is a duly elected board, and some appointments are given, the mayor has the power, but also the state also has an appointment on the board.
I just wanna make sure that we touch base on those. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any other comments by councilors? One point of clarification. Passion, which is a good thing, right? I think some of the language may have been unfortunate in describing it. I think that what happened perhaps at the last minute was an opportunity for us to, rather than look at the entire big swath, but provide a little more as part of our role is to look at these matters and to study them and to make sure that they're the proper spending of monies. And it's really good that the administration agrees with that and thinks that that's important. I think where we're getting to the point where where we can both reach consensus is that there is not only a need for us for further review, which is what we're doing right now, but going forward, we should continue with that rather than going down to the committee, which would then rely us to move more quickly, which I think is what the administration is trying to do as well. So it has two things. A, the way that it was structured was a good thing because it allows us to go into more detail regarding, just like we are right now, rather than the big nut of 16. It was a lot. But now we're dropping it off in manageable pieces, which I think does a service not only to us as a body, but to our residents as well, because it allows us to have this kind of interaction, which in a democracy, in a situation like we're in right now, is only helpful. So from this point going forward, when we get new things, Councilor Rodriguez, you have made a tremendous point this evening. I want to acknowledge that. We will, I think, from this point going forward, be using the letter system on this. We may run out of letters, but that's okay. We'll put a couple of Z's at the end or something, but we will get there. We will, at this point, and it will go immediately under old business so that we're able to go ahead and have this discussion. So we will have several more of this, but I think for our process, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have this kind of back and forth. There are some things, my last point is this, there are some things that we like about the 16 million, and there may be some things that we don't like about it. We're not all going to agree on what we like or dislike, and this gives us that chance to give our voice on what it is that we like and what we don't like. So I think overall, it's sometimes legislation is messy and muddy and can get ugly. It's like making sausage, they say. You never want to watch it being made, and this is part of it. So I appreciate your understanding as we try to work on both sides, the administration and our branch of government, the legislative branch. So we have a motion before us right now to approve the $2.2 million to go to the LRA. It has been rightfully, I see 2 point.
It's 2.5, yeah. It's 2.5, yeah. Yeah, 2.5. Yes. Yes, and
so it is, just so we're clear, it is 2.5. So I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That is going forward.
I have a question to the council, and just this is for clarification, because we did read the document that was presented, and the reason why this is being asked, because we are going to be asked by the administration what is the process. And we need to make sure that we're transparent. That's the motto of the administration, to govern with integrity, but also for us to provide accurate information to the public. So moving forward, in the next council meeting, we're going to present, this is how the administration or the mayor instructed us, that first, based on the council request, particularly you, Council President, that, the question was, what priorities are we given to the city departments? So based on that request, we have made sure that quasi-public agencies, as well as city departments, most of them have submitted their wish list. The mayor needs to screen it for the following agenda item, and that will be presented to you while the application has already begun, or the process already began for nonprofit organizations to apply for some of these funds. That deadline is April 24th. So moving forward, we are coming before the city council, the next city council, with a list of projects requested from the different department heads. How would that first one be moved, or would it be approved? Second of all, because I am under the understanding, and the city clerk provided us with the information, we looked at it, the $16 million was approved with the condition that the series of other projects would come before you for a final approval based on the review. So how are we going to manage with the other after April 24th?
So I think that this was a model this evening. I think muddied at what, but I think we got to a place that perhaps we can all agree on, which is please provide for us the information that just get it tonight, but also include on it, because I think we talked about this. You know, how do we measure? What are the deliverables? How do we measure what the money is going to be spent, and where is the money going? And I think as we look at that, because that gives, I think, all of us more information. It's going to either this department or this nonprofit or whatever, and this is what they're assigned to do through your process, whatever that is, RFPs or whatever. And then your final product comes to us, goes, this is how we're going to spend this $4 million, this $6 million in this way. And then we see the final product, and then we say, well, I can agree with that, or I've got concerns with that, and that's what this body is going to be looking at. And where it comes for your benefit, when I say your, I mean the administration's benefit, is that you're going to get a real-time, quick decision on that, because as long as we get this information 4 days in advance, like we should, or 3 days, we're going to be able to at least look it over and then have someone like yourself here answering, like we did this evening, answering follow-up questions. And so I think what the idea here being is from our legislative angle, we want to be comfortable with our votes. The administration wants to be comfortable that there's buy-in, and that we have this kind of back and forth. At the end of the day, there's going to be differences of opinion with some people, and there's going to be some embracing of ideas with others, and that's just a legislative process. We're going to go through it, and then I just hope that at the end that, you know, that we get to a good place on how we spend that $16 million.
Thank you.
So there you go. Thank you, councilors, for all of your assistance on this. I do want to take another item. On a public, let's go to the public hearings. We do have other issues we got to deal with. Will the clerk please read the public hearing notice for document number 3623? This is a proposed ordinance for the chief of staff position. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice?
Document number 36-23, notice is hereby given that the Lawrence City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 4th, 7:00 p.m. at a public meeting in the City Council Chambers, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, in accordance with the recently revised Council Rule 2, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing public participation both in person and remotely to accommodate any participants with health considerations that may prevent them from participating in person. To receive access codes for remote participation, please contact City Clerk Eileen Burnell at cityoflawrence.com or 978-620-3230. The meeting may be viewed on Facebook and YouTube, and the Facebook and YouTube links are provided. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment of the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence, to be further amended by adding the following subparagraph, section 2.12.025 of the Municipal Code, Chief of Staff. Subsection A, position established. There is established a position of Chief of Staff who shall serve conterminously with the mayor. Subsection B, powers and duties generally. Under the general direction of the mayor, responsible for performance of professional and administrative work, assisting the mayor in the administration of a wide range of city policies and procedures in order to discharge the duties and ensure the efficient operation of the mayor's office and other city departments, provide direct supervisory responsibility over the employees working in the office of the mayor as designated by the mayor, and to perform all related work required. Subsection C, salary and benefit. The chief of staff shall be entitled to receive all benefits provided to non-union employees regularly employed in the administrative services of the city. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Your name and address, please, for the record, sir.
Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. In regarding this special ordinance and other ordinance from the administration, we the citizen demand of you as our elected official in considering this proposal ordinance to hold the administration accountable, since this honorable council repeatedly allowing that this administration has additional personnel at the third floor by passing different ordinance for the new positions, has additional so-called cabinet member, and generous in granting more budgetary funds assistant to the mayor's office. And you're being so generous in appropriation of more funds. But when a citizen goes to the third floor of this building asking for help to resolve a problem, they ask a citizen to fill up a form. After that, one assistant of the mayor refer the citizen to another assistant without any resolving any problem, any result. I personally test the efficiency of the third floor staff in resolving my personal problem as a long-term citizen. No phone call return, no problem resolution. If you're helping the mayor administration by passing any ordinance, such as this ordinance, please help the administration, hold the administration accountable to help our citizens and stop this wrong policy of creative frustration, of this impression that they're helping the citizen, but they're not helping their citizen. And remind you, in our city, unfortunately, more than 50% of our fellow citizens cannot read, write, and understand English. Therefore, they get frustrated very easy. So without resolving the citizen issues and the problem, that at this point, the mayor and administration does not resolve our citizen problem efficiently and effectively. Therefore, they create such a frustration. We, the citizen of the Lawrence, respectfully request of you as our official representative of the citizen, hold the administration accountable. And please, before accepting, allowing more position to be filled at the third floor, make sure this administration really help our citizen, does not create a frustration situation, just fill up a form and one assistant referring one to another assistant without problem with it. Thank you so much.
Is there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing that public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion? Looking for a motion to approve and disapprove?
Second.
Sure.
Councilor Russell, do you want to? Councilor Russell, more senior member right here, you can take the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you
Councilor
very
Russell?
much. The only question I have, is this position gonna be subject to council approval, or is it strictly choice by chance by the occupant of the third floor?
The question, is it choice for the occupant on the third floor? Is the question.
Just for the record, just so we can, I'm going to be addressing, I propose there's 3 positions. First, I'll do them in order. Chief of Staff, Airport Manager, CAFO position. None of these are creating the jobs. It is the fact that we went through the ordinances as per your request, and we found, in fact, there were discrepancies. In fact, there has been a Chief of Staff since the beginning of time. And yet our ordinance do not provide for one. The Chief of Staff is still getting paid, the Chief of Staff still exists there. To answer your question, the Chief of Staff is the right-hand person of the mayor. The mayor selects the Chief of Staff because they are symbiotic. The city council plays no part in it. It'd be much like me saying, I want someone to work with you, and I get to choose them. I don't care whether you like them or not. So it's just, that's the way it works. But that's what we're here today, is just to correct. We are not we're not funding any new positions. We are, in fact, with the 3 of them, we are just making our ordinances reflect what is, in fact, reality, that we have these positions. We are, in fact, required to have 2 of the positions by state law, and we haven't put them on our ordinance. I mean, so they are created. So that's what we're here today. There is no more money. Mr. Malley, and I just want to say that the number of people that get helped on that third floor, and the number of people that come in my office and daily, and whether they speak English, as a matter of fact, the woman we helped today not only did not speak English, she did not speak at all, she was deaf and dumb. We took care of her. There's nobody that I ever see that's turned away from the third floor that, for whatever, even if it doesn't relate directly to city business.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Council President, through you. I know that the process we're doing is to fill up gaps that we didn't do before. But I mean, you just mentioned that the chief of staff, it's somebody that mayor want to work with,
Yes.
but and then we require master degrees.
We don't require a master's degree. What you're looking at is the program coordinator. That's when we're removing the master's degree.
We have Exhibit A, is replacing it with Exhibit B, and then it require mastering. No? Okay.
Under the public hearing notice for 3623, the powers and duty under B is the powers and duties.
I don't see master's degree on it, I'm sorry. I don't have it numbered the same as you, I'm sorry.
Correct. I think that what we're looking, there is apparently a discrepancy. I think that what I was looking at before, what was actually written in the public hearing section, which is the very first part of that, which is what is in there.
Yeah, here is what I have, and it just, again, I understand. Position established, there is established the position of chief of staff, who shall serve coterminously with the mayor. Powers and duties under the general direction of the mayor, responsible for performance of professional and administrative work, assisting the mayor in the administration of a wide range of city policies and procedures in order to discharge the duties, ensure the efficient operation of the mayor's office and other city departments, provides direct supervisory responsibility over the employees working with the mayor as designated by the mayor, and perform all related work and salary and benefits. The chief of staff shall be entitled to receive all benefits provided to non-union employees regularly employed in the administration service of the city. Again, that's what was.
You're absolutely right. That's the ordinance that we're actually talking about. But on the package, he gave us Exhibit A to be replaced with Exhibit B, and then we got the ordinance.
I believe that may be in the wrong place, that Exhibit A replacing Exhibit B. If you look at 4823, right, but 20, in other words, it might have been put with the wrong package. 4823, we are removing the requirement for a master's degree on that one. So that may be the attachment for 4823 that somehow, because I don't have that, I have no Exhibit B to it. I apologize.
I see, but what's governed, I don't think there's any quibbling with what the counselor is seeing.
Oh, I
here.
agree with that. I just don't have it in front of me.
It is in there. It is as plain as black and white. There is a section called B, and it does say about that. But I think what's governing this vote today or this body, is what was actually posted in the public hearing notice, and then the language that was sent down as part of the draft. I think it's unfortunate that language is there because it's providing confusion, but I think what governs is what was posted, and then the draft language.
I apologize for that. I never saw that language.
No, I just,
Counsel, you're right. Exactly what you're saying is there, and it's correct. It is not in the wrong section. If you look at the bottom of each page, it clearly says, Office of the Mayor, Chief of Staff, exempt, grade B. Like, it is definitely put where it was meant to be. That came from the personnel office. That is what they sent us. That is what put in the package at their request. It is not put in the wrong location. It is absolutely not relevant to the ordinance that being read. But you are right. What you are reading is absolutely a higher standard than we would need, yeah.
well, in case that this language is put through, because we are approving the ordinance, but from the ordinance, and then we actually do the posting. In case that we have the posting with this, I want to make sure about the education, whatever it is, to be changed. But I also would like to talk about one specific thing that I would like to remove in case we're not discussing the posting, but just an advice to whoever's making the posting.
Certainly, Counsel.
It says on the physical and mental requirements, employee is frequently required to see, talk, and hear, and normal vision is required. So I don't think we should say normal vision is required, because I mean anybody that is blind can apply for this, and
I agree.
Otherwise we're discriminating against the blind people. You know what I mean?
I understand.
But in
that.
case, you know what I mean, I don't want to kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. But it's just an advice. We're not discussing the posting, but it's on the package. In case that's the language they're going to be using, they need to review the physical and mental requirements and also the education.
I'll bring that to personnel.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have. Document 3723, proposed ordinance for the airport manager. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice? Is there a motion to waive the preamble? Motion made by Councilor Infante, seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Clerk, you're welcome. Will you please read the public hearing notice for 3723?
Document number 37-23, the purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment of the revised ordinance of the City of Lawrence by further amending, by adding the following subparagraph to section 2.44.175 of the Municipal Code, Airport Manager. Position established. There is established a position of Airport Manager who shall be appointed by the Airport Commission. Powers and duties generally, subsection B, under the general direction of the Airport Commission to plan, direct, supervise, and coordinate the promotion, use, and development of the city airport facilities, to manage the airport operation, its maintenance, and its business management functions, develop and implement city economic development programs, to provide highly responsible and technical staff assistance to the mayor, city council, and airport commission, to perform work related as required. Subsection C, salary and benefits. The airport manager shall be entitled to receive all benefits provided to non-union employees regularly employed in the administrative services of the city. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Councilors? Motion made by the representative, seconded by Councilor Anna Levy. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document for a public hearing is document number 4523, proposed ordinance for the CAFO position. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice?
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following ordinance as Section 2.52.015 of the Municipal Code, Chief Administrative and Financial Officer. Subsection A, position established. There is established the position of Chief Administrative and Financial Officer as set forth in the Acts of 2010, Chapter 58, and Act providing for the financial stability of the City of Lawrence. Subsection B, power and duties generally. Under the general direction of the mayor responsible for the overall budgetary and financial administration of the city, responsible for the direct oversight of all employees working in the Department of Administration and Finance, including department heads, employees in offices of the assessor, comptroller, payroll, human resources, personnel, labor relations, purchasing, treasurer collector, and information technology. Subsection C, salary and benefits. The chief administrative and financial officer shall be entitled to receive all benefits provided to non-union employees regularly employed in the administrative service of the city. Salary shall be set per employee contract. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors? Vice President made the motion. It's been seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion?
Quick question.
Councilor Rodriguez?
I know that the CAFO under the Mass General Law was appointed by the governor, but the second CAFO, the administration will be able to appoint in case the first one is no longer with us. So is that the main goal of this ordinance once we have the opportunity to hire somebody?
The main goal actually is to put it in the ordinance. There is no CAFO in our ordinances. There's a state appointment of the CAFO, but we never incorporate it into our ordinances. So we're just incorporating the state language and everything into our ordinance so that if anybody looks up the CAFO, currently if you look it up, it doesn't exist.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. It's adopted. The next document is document number 4623.
May I ask that you jump to 4823? That's my last item, and 4623 is not mine. Not 46.
We are because the city attorney's been very, no, it sounds kind of funny, but he's actually sacrificing some time for another matter at home, and we do appreciate that, and we will. If there's no objection, I'm going to go right to it. Document 4823, a proposed ordinance modification. Clerk, please read the public hearing notice.
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by deleting the following subparagraph as Section 2.12090 of the Municipal Code, Program Coordinator for Economic Development. There is established in the office of the mayor the position of Program Coordinator for Economic Development, who shall report directly to the Chief Economic Development Officer. The Program Coordinator shall possess a master's degree in city planning, economic, or related field. The salary for the Program Director Coordinator shall be provided for in the Barrington Non-Union Job Group 22, and adding the following subparagraph, Section 2.12.090 of the Municipal Code, Program Coordinator for Economic Development. There is established in the office of the mayor the position of Program Coordinator for Economic Development, who shall report directly to the Chief Economic Development Officer. The salary for the Program Director Coordinator shall be provided for in the city's non-union compensation salary plan. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open for document 4823. Is any member of the public wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors? Councilor Vice President made a motion to approve. It's seconded by Councilor Infante. Discussion? Councilor Rodriguez.
Quick question. What is the grade E range in terms of salary?
I do not have that. I believe it's 45 to 65, but I'm not positive. I, again, do not have that in front of me. That's the reason for removing the masters is because we, quite frankly, couldn't get people with a master's to apply for this position. So the salary was a little low. So that's the way it was graded.
All right.
But I can get you that information.
Do you mind sending it to us tomorrow?
I'd be more than happy to.
Thank
Counselor Russell?
The difference between what is being deleted and what is being added was the elimination of a sentence that says the old ordinance said, "The program coordinator shall possess a master's degree in city planning, economics, or related fields." Why wasn't that sentence included in the new proposed ordinance?
That's what we're deleting, is the requirement of masters. The problem is that this position doesn't pay enough that someone with a master's would apply for it, so we're removing the masters so that we get people that will apply for the position. Our other choice is to, see, this was graded, this is not like a position, because of the current non-union grading system, the way this was graded, that's what the salary is, so we can't pay more than that, so you either have to create a new position or have the qualifications for someone that would work for that kind of money.
Why are we accepting the Sullivan Commission salary schedule? Why can't we move that position up one grade?
Well, that would be a process that you could do that, but that would be a process that you would have to do. It takes some time. I think they're currently looking to, I think because of the responsibilities in that, and again, I'm hesitant to ever suggest that we pay more for positions. I think the city council is probably not that happy to give large raises on certain positions. So I think that this meets what it's the requirement of this job. I think the job can be done by someone without a master's, and a pay is appropriate for this type of job.
Any other comments by councilors? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Attorney Hooton, is that it for the evening?
That is, and I thank you very much, and not to make me feel bad, but the one you jumped over, I have a personal thing, and I found out the one you jumped over, it's his anniversary, so he has a personal thing. Thank you.
So with that, we're going back to document 4623, proposed ordinance for the supervisor of energy projects. Clerk, please read the public hearing notice.
The ordinance is amended by adding the following new paragraph, section 2.64.300, supervisor of energy projects. The position established, appointment and duties. It is established in the Department of Public Works the position of a supervisor of energy projects to be appointed by the mayor under the general supervision of the mayor and direct supervision of the director of the Department of Public Works. The supervisor of energy projects shall be responsible for the development and administration of programs, policies, and initiatives to advance the city of Lawrence's energy efficiency. Qualifications: a bachelor's degree in environmental science or a related field plus a minimum of 3 years experience or any equivalent combination of education, training, and experience. A master's degree preferred, and salary is the grade E. All persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Yes, sir. Your name and address, please, for the record. Do you wish to speak on this item?
Sure.
Do you wish to advocate for it? You can go right ahead if you wish. Go ahead.
So, Chairperson, Councilman, and everyone, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think this is one of the positions that the city badly needs. And last time when we had in front of the committee, we went forward. They basically said that is one position enough, more is needed. I can train one person at a time. I think we need a body of people who are doing this work. There is lots of funds that I can't even begin to apply because I just run out of time. There's just so much that is available and possibilities, of course. We just applied for about $40 million funds for the high school, the school side of it. But we ran out of time. The application was probably not as good as it could have been, and we did not get the funding. Andover had a very super qualified person. Andover got the ability to move forward with their application. $40 million, we lost it. I cried. It was not a good thing to happen. I don't want such things to be repeated. I want people here who are applied by the city, responsible for it, working hard on energy efficiency projects. This is a position that creates that position, and it will require some training, but I'm here to do that job. Until that happens, I don't think I want to get out, but it's not costing you money, but I think I want someone who is more responsible and working every day and working seriously about a lot of these things. There are so many projects in the city that requires attention. I cannot even begin to tell you how many there are. We did an audit of 5 buildings, and the auditor was hired by the National Grid because of the funding that we brought to it. The city didn't pay anything. The audit resulted into 56 different energy projects. Who's going to do it? Where is the capacity? So I think what we are saying is that we need to have such position, a department that takes care of energy very seriously. Our energy bills are about $5 to $6 million a year. There's a significant opportunity to reduce these bills, but you need the ability, the expertise, and the training to go after it. The training requires and the qualification requires. I would be lucky if I get somebody anywhere near those positions. But that's what this appeal is for. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors? Vice President made a motion to approve. It's been seconded by Councilor Infante. Discussion. I just have one quick question on this. This seems like a very specific niche group. Are there a lot of people looking for jobs like this? Are we able to attract them? I'm even sure what a grade E salary is. Do you know what a grade E salary consists of?
My plan is to go after recent college graduates who are in that area and see what can be done with that. So I think that's where I'm going to go. It's very hard to find qualified people to do that, but we will try. I mean, we are going to try. We're going to try. Yeah, important clarification. The funds for this position are being provided by DOER for like at least 2 to 3 years. And then afterwards, we will see if the position is maintainable. We can decide to absorb in the city or not. But the funds are coming from the MVRF funds, which is the DOER has promised to actually fund 2 positions, one for themselves, they are going to do it themselves, one they are doing for us, and it's about many energy-related activities that DOER itself is going to fund with $17 million that they are planning on. So the funding for this is for at least 2 to 3 years. They have promised to give the money, but if the person will be employed by the city, and it's a temporary position for now.
In your question, Council President, I'm not aware of the grade E. Unfortunately, I thought it was in the packet. It's there.
I just got it. So
Okay, good.
my question has been answered. The max, if I can believe this, the range is 62 to about 87. So that's the range for that position. Does that sound about right?
I thought it was more. Yeah, because to get an engineer nowadays, I mean, for 87, sorry, that's an error. That's not going to. That's not the amount, and just to follow up on Anil's remarks, it was the funding was negotiated for the city to obtain about $100,000 for this position. Yeah, and then because it's paid by DOT, yeah, those are the standards.
Commonwealth. I do see that Councilor Infante has her hand up. Councilor Infante.
Thank you. Through you, Council President. I'm looking at the job description of this position, and I'm trying to make this make sense in my head. A supervisor position with only a minimum of 3 years of experience that now we're saying that we're going to pay $100,000 for. To me, that does not make sense. And I want to better understand what was the thought behind this.
What I can say is that the qualifications required to do the job itself brings certain amount of skill set that you cannot get for $60,000, $80,000. So data analytics, any programming skill, any of that category of skills, you're just not going to get that person. So the 3 years experience in this particular field, it's a lot of nice experience if the person is really done the job. So I think it's a very different way to look at it. It's kind of between a programmer, and depending on where we find the skill set, I don't know what kind of skill set. I may ask for it, but doesn't mean I'll get it. So I will have to do compromise. So, but it has to be up to 100,000 at least to begin with. I mean, it will be lucky if you get any even at that price. That's my sense right now.
As a matter of fact, just had a conversation with, in Boston. A person that dropped out of college, right, is working with engineering groups, are earning $100,000 without even have a engineering degree. What we're trying to do is, is to get the people to be to be accredited, to, and I think one of our council person can attest to that. It's very difficult to get someone who's not, that is within the industry, to get someone to work with $100,000 is no big deal.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the thought process behind that I'm trying to look for. But also, I mean, education and experience. If we're looking for engineers specifically, I'm not seeing anything here. I'm just seeing knowledge with working with corporate, like public entities, et cetera. The way that is written, it sounds like just anyone with minimal experience, even if can do this. And the discussions we're having here is more intricate. So
I completely understand that aspect. To call someone engineer is a sort of engineer as a degree as against someone who is employed as software engineer. So if you say software engineer, doesn't mean that the person has actually engineering degree, right? I mean, that is a skill set thing. So it's a way you loosely describe these skill sets. There are people who are just coming out of the high school are able to work as software engineers. So they don't have formal engineering background. So for us to input qualification as engineer, that means that they will have an engineering degree. That person, you're not going to get anywhere near 100,000. That's just forget about it. That's not. So we are looking for people who have experience, have dabbled with it, and are able to grow slowly and go upwards. But so, informally speaking, it could be an engineer, software engineer who wants to get into a different field, but who is working as software engineer. But it doesn't need a software engineering skills per se. So it's a programming skill. You can learn it on the job if you are ready for it. So there's a whole bunch of spectrum of skills that come into the picture. Informally, engineering skills will describe it, but it's not formal training that we're having.
Okay, thank you. Well, I trust your judgment, and when these applications start rolling in, you and the administration will pick the best person suited to get the job done, because this is a very particular area.
I appreciate you asking those questions. Thanks for the clarifications, allowing me to clarify.
If there's no further discussion by the membership, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Roll call vote, please.
Thank you.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Of course, yes.
Yes, the motion carries. The next document is document number 41022, roadway assessment and proposed modification. I'll ask the city clerk to please read the public hearing notice. I'm going to withdraw that and go back to the council vice president.
Document 8523, motion to take out of order.
Motion to take document 8523 out of order has been made by the Representative, seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no.
Present.
The aye. Roll call vote, please. I heard a present.
I messed up on that, yeah, I vote yes.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. What is the Housing Committee Chair?
The Housing Committee met, discussed this item. This item is related to rescind the vote of 8 Bradford Place that took place on September of 2022. It was a disposition vote, but the process didn't go through, and the administration decided to proceed with another project for that specific parcel. The area of the parcel, the total area of that specific parcel is 3,107 square feet, relatively a small parcel, not a buildable lot. It was sold through the yard sale program, and now it's been rescinded. The main point of this discussion is to rescind the vote that took place back in September. I make that as a form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? It's a motion to rescind the vote. Seeing there's no further discussion on this matter, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Levy? Yes. Counselor Dela Cruz? Noted as absent. Counselor Russell?
Present.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Infante?
Yes.
Vice President, Representative Reyes?
Yes.
Council President LaPlante?
Yes. The motion to rescind carries.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Let's go back to public hearings. Document number 41022, roadway assessment and proposed modification. I'll ask the clerk to please read the public hearing notice.
Be it ordained that the City Council of the City of Lawrence, the revised ordinances of the city are hereby further amended by adding the following subparagraphs to section 10.28.040 of the municipal code, one-way streets and alleys. Chelmsford Street, in the proper alphabetical order, Chelmsford Street from Center Street to Arlington Street in a southerly direction, Spruce Street from Myrtle Street to Center Street in a northerly direction, Juniper Street from Basswood Street to Alder Street in a southerly direction, Basswood Street from Arlington Street to Alder Street in a southerly direction, Stearns Ave from Lawrence Street to Basswood Street in a southwesterly direction, Sunset Avenue from Saratoga Street to Lawrence Street in a southwesterly direction, Stearns Avenue from Lawrence Street to Mayflower Street in a northeasterly direction, Bennington Street from Stearns Avenue to Lawrence Street in a southerly direction, Bennington Street from Lawrence Street to Irving Street in a southerly direction, Saratoga Street from Myrtle Street to Sunset Avenue in a northerly direction, Bunker Hill Street from Fern Street to Lawrence Street in a southerly direction, Lexington Street from Myrtle Street to Fern Street in a northerly direction, Trenton Street from Fern Street to Fifth Street in a southerly direction, Utah Street from Fifth Street to Fern Street in a northerly direction, Monmouth Street from Buswell Street to Park Street in a northeasterly direction, Montgomery Street from Berkeley Street to Jackson Street in a northerly direction, Knox Street from Jackson Street to Berkeley Street in a southwesterly direction, Knox Street from Thorndike Street to Berkeley Street in a northwesterly direction, Sanders Street from Berkeley Street to Fifth Street in a southwesterly direction, Kendrick Street from Jackson Street to Albion Street in an easterly direction, Trinity Street from Avon Street to Irvine Avenue in a southwesterly direction, Currier Street from Irvine Avenue to Wilmont Street in a northwesterly direction, Wilmont Street from Irving Avenue to Durant Street in a northerly direction, Durant Street from Wilmont Street to Belmont Street in an easterly direction, Belmont Street from Kendrick Street to Irvine Avenue in a southerly direction, Kendrick Street from Jackson Street to Belmont Street in a westerly direction, Albion Street from Kendrick Street to Avon Street in a southerly direction. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Public hearing is now closed.
Motion to approve
Motion was made by the
and
representative.
waive the 30 days.
Seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Discussion.
This discussion, yes.
Counselor Rodriguez with the discussion.
Well, essentially, on the waiving the 30-day issue, this could be a situation that people might come and talk about it. So, because it's changing street directions from one way to two ways, from 2 ways to 1 way and stuff like that. So, this will affect tremendously, in a positive or negative way, I don't know, a lot of people living on those areas. So, on the wave of the 30 days, I might have some issues.
Which is the reason why, I'm sorry, Councilor President, which is the reason why I'm waiving the 30-day, because the city engineer, as well as the DPW director, we met a couple of times. They've been waiting for this item to come up for them to start to advertise. They're not gonna do all in once. They're gonna let the resident know, so they're gonna have time to play in between. So that is why I've been requested to waive the 30 days.
But that's the point of the 30 days. That's the whole point of the 30 days, for them to do the work before.
How they
it
gonna be
actually-
working if they're not gonna get the orders? They need to have this order in order for them just to start working with the items.
No, because they can definitely go up there and start doing the public outreach, because the law, it's passed. It is just have it a 30 days waiting period for it to take an effect, but it passed. So if they do the public outreach to the people, people gonna understand and gonna have the right to come back if they are against it. If we waive the 30 days and something like this, people are not gonna have the opportunity to come back and say, look, I'm against this.
Again, they can have the time to play with it. If someone coming against, we have a couple of meetings. This is not only us putting this together. We went and talked to the residents. People, most of them, we have neighborhood meeting placing that. Waiving the 30-day, that doesn't mean that they're gonna start working with them right away. So they know what is the time that they need to be taken, or what is gonna be happening between the time.
Counselor Rodriguez. Part. Good. Good.
Well, I expressed my opinion on the 30 days, looking at the situation and how people might not having the opportunity to actually come back to the city council and discuss this. The 30 days on a lot of occasions that are not gonna affect a good amount of citizens makes sense, but on this situation, we're changing more than 20 streets from 2 ways to 1 way and stuff like that. So this is gonna affect a lot of people. So having those 30 days there available for the people to actually come over, I think will be essential and very much on point to keep it.
Trust me, Councilor Rodriguez, if it wouldn't be something that we haven't been visited and be full aware what is going on, I wouldn't waive the 30 days.
So Councilor and Councilor Stella Reyes, you telling me that you guys spoke with every person living on the street?
How am I gonna be saying that I'm gonna be
course not.
speaking with, you can vote in no, no one is asking you to vote in yes. So you can vote in whatever you want. I made the motion to waive the 30 days. Whether you like it or not, this is totally up to you.
Listen, I
The-
expressed my opinion on the 30
The
days.
motion,
I'll take it.
the motion, counselors, who authored the motion? The motion, the author has the authority to go ahead and amend the motion, and she properly amended it to waive the 30 days. Is there any further discussion on whether or not we should move with this item? Counselor Russell?
The citizens of that area had the opportunity at the public hearing. They did not show up. To waive the 30 days implies that that law goes into effect tomorrow. The streets become one way, whether they like it or not. They cannot come back and change those streets. It is what it is. I feel that they should be given the 30 days to at least get acclimated or have more outreach from the city government as this is what is happening.
Council President.
Any further discussion? Counselor Del Rosario?
And to add on it, I don't think even waive it on 30 days, I don't think that, I mean, I would like to assume that the DPW hasn't spent enough money to have all those signs already buying unless this is approved. So now it would take more than 30 days just to at least have half of the signs in the city to get that done. So I think we have plenty of time to actually continue to advocate or let the people know. Part of my district, most of my district, so we'll bring that conversation over. And a lot of people have been asking for this. I think this study has been done for years. Last administration, that's when this was done, and now is when it's approved. So it would take more than 30 days to get at least half of those streets done with
Yes.
signs and change.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Through you, Mr. President. Follow the question to Councilor. We do a lot of community meeting. It's not happened just today. It's at least 1 to 2 or 3 years. We are starting to having this conversation in our community for different presidents. And the voice from them is asking, it's more better for them have a one-way, because when we have some emergency, the street are so narrow, small. But I want to add it, we do a lot of community meetings in this area.
Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm gonna call for a roll call, see what happens. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it with a waiving of the 30 days.
Say present, call the roll call.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
Present, call the roll call.
Now, we're gonna have a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Levy? Yes. Counselor Dela Cruz, noted as absent. Counselor Russell?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez?
I vote present.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Infante?
Yes.
Council Vice President Representative Reyes?
Yes.
Council President LaPlante?
Yes, motion carries.
Budget, after budget and finance committee reports, document 27650, Virginia Museum Square Garage. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Yes, Council President, we discussed this item with the purpose of getting information from the mayor. A letter was sent to the mayor requesting information and an update on this item. In the meantime, we decided to keep it at this level, so when we get a report, everybody have the opportunity to discuss it. At this point, I make a motion to table.
Again, we talked about this before. I think it would be on the table, there would be a cleaner way of
But
doing
it
it.
is a motion to table, Council President. That was the discussion on the city, at the committee.
It wasn't a
We're waiting
motion,
for the report.
wasn't a motion to withdraw at the committee level, no?
No, it was a motion to send it to the full council, once we get the update, and then we decide whether or not we're gonna withdraw.
I hear what you're saying. I think we're gonna get to the same spot, which is gonna be a tabled matter, so you can get the information. But I think what came out of the committee was two things, I think, as I was there. One is that you wanna withdraw the items based on the contingency that you get the information from the city, from the mayor's office regarding finances. Is that what the motion is?
Council President, I will specify what the note says and my recollection of my colleagues right next to me that agree with what I'm saying. And there was a motion to table, which is not discussion, it was properly second, but let's go back. I will draw my motion to table in the meantime, so we can allow the discussion.
So what's the motion right now?
The motion was to
Withdraw.
table, and it was second, but let me go back to the report.
Okay.
We met, discussed the item to review, item 27615, read as follow. Review of the Museum Square parking garage. With that said, on that meeting, we sent correspondence to the mayor, asking for an update in terms of the finance of that, of the Museum Square parking garage. Once we get the report, and then we're gonna get an update on the item at this level. Reason why we move it forward is because we prefer that every council at this level understand what is the Museum Square parking garage status in terms of the finance. And then after that, we will make a determination whether we want to withdraw the item or we want to keep it. Since we don't have the update from the mayor's office at this point, it is no information for us to discuss at this level. At that point, when I said that, I said, since we're not getting this information now, I'll make a motion to table. And that's when I actually, there is nothing to discuss, no information, so there's no need to withdraw it. We're not gonna withdraw the item and not getting information based on what item we're gonna be discussing that once we get the update. So that's what my colleagues agree as well. So at this point, I'm willing to make a motion. That motion would be to table. But if you have anything else before I make the motion, I can just hold on and then go back to that motion later. So you have the floor, Council President.
Thank you. So I think what we're dealing with here is we're gonna get to the same results. The question is, how are we getting there, right? When things come out of the committee, they come out of the committee with some sort of recommendation. What I was here and what I heard and what I saw in the motion is that there was two things going on. Three things? Okay, here's the two that I remember. One was, okay. Send correspondence, check, that was taken out of the committee. To review the report, the full council hasn't happened yet, no report's been given. To withdraw the document after reviewing the report. So since, frankly, the report has not been done, and not been given here, right? While there could be a motion to withdraw, because I do believe that's the ultimate place, that this motion is ultimately looking to go once it's satisfied, the report from the mayor's office. So we would, I think ultimately, I think what the committee is trying to do is they're trying to go to withdrawal, make a motion to withdraw, but since you don't have that report, you're not gonna vote in favor of withdrawing it because the report hasn't been sent down. So it's just a question of the order. I think we're still getting to the same spot, but everything that comes out of a committee needs to have, you don't immediately table something. There has to be some sort of underlying motion before us, something. A committee report, if you want to do that, that's non-committal, that's fine. But some underlying motion.
Council President, I don't feel like I'm gonna disagree with you, but I will, because motion to table is a motion. And at this level, the purpose of why we're sending this to here is because we don't want to waste time sending it to committee when we understand that every council would like to hear the report. So for the benefit of the council, we move it forward to this level. But motion to table is definitely in order. I mean, never hear a motion to table not in order.
It's not that again, to repeat, we're getting caught in arcane rules here. It's not, what we're trying to deal with here is an underlying motion. We don't have one. We're going immediately to table something that's not even before us. We need to have something before us. There needs to be a motion that we're tabling, a document that we need to table. So right now, the document came out of the committee. The ultimate, there's three things. One's been checked off, sending it to the mayor's office. The second thing is what? Looking to get the report. I think ultimately we're going to get to the location that the committee wants. This body, it's probably not going to vote in favor of anything until the reports come down. It's going to be stuck in a tabled area. But ultimately, I think what the housing committee wished to do is that they wish to go ahead and hope that everything makes sense so that they can just take that document out. So that's
Mr. President.
that's the withdrawing, that's the underlying motion.
Mr. President, what is the recommendation?
I will ask my recommendation is if, again, I think the committee wants to ultimately withdraw this, but because you don't have that information, you're going to make a motion to withdraw, then you're going to table it because you don't have it. You don't have the stuff.
To be honest with you, the committee would like to discuss this, and not with the condition of withdrawing it. Ultimately, if the council is satisfied with that, could definitely be withdrawn. That is not the optimum condition. It could be that we change our mind and say we're going to keep it. It's not no such thing as conditioning an item. But I mean, I follow your recommendation. We need to move this meeting forward.
Motion to withdraw and has been seconded.
No, it's not a motion to withdraw. What's the motion? The motion is to table. Now, of course, we're not going to withdraw something that eventually we have no item to discuss. Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to table this item.
There's a motion on the floor to table this item. I do want to say that this is very unorthodox, but again, to try to get...
President, I follow your recommendation. I'm not going to withdraw the item at all. I'm going to keep it here. This is important.
It will, and it shall. At the end of this meeting, on the pathway that I've just prescribed, it will stay here. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay on tabled matters. When we leave this meeting this evening, you will say it under tabled matters.
Okay, tell me the sequence of motion that I need to make.
Motion, based on the committee report, motion to withdraw. Motion been made and seconded. Now motion to table. Motion been tabled, has been accepted. Now the motion is tabled.
Mr. President, listen. I'm not making a motion to withdraw. I'm not.
Isn't that what the committee asked for?
No, it was not. We was to send correspondence to the mayor, get an update, discuss the update, and then if the committee is satisfied, we'll withdraw it out of the agenda.
If you look at this is on here.
I'm gonna pass the floor. I'm gonna pass the floor to a member of that committee that was there. Please, members of the committee, discuss the item as of what we discuss at that level.
I see Councilor Levy, who is there. Councilor Levy.
But we did three motions. The first one was to send correspondence to the mayor's office for an update on the financial portion of the museum parking garage. That was the first one. So the second motion that we did to get and review updated report. And from there, if the full council wants to withdraw, that's the third one. So the third one was if the full council want to withdraw after we get the report, we withdraw that's idle. So practically, because we haven't get a report, I would like to make a motion to table
I second the motion, table the document.
and table the motion, so until we got the report.
There appears to be counselors who are in support of what that the other proponent is looking to do. The chair does hear that and does not look to obfuscate, which is a big word, means stopping things from going forward. So we will allow the motion to table to go forward. It's been properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Is there anything else? Document number 35519.
The subcommittee may discuss this item, and it was recommended to send it to the full council for withdrawal. So I make that motion for withdrawal. Thank you. Aye.
Under old business, we have two items. Document 5323, license request for 135 Butler Street. Is there anybody who wishes to make a motion on that item?
Motion to approve without public hearing?
Motion's been made to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Infante. Discussion? No discussion.
What is the item? What is the item about?
Is there any discussion on this matter? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Under roll business 8623, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Rodriguez and seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes to change the date of the Easter egg hunt from April 1st to April the 8th. It's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Are there any tabled matters? Seeing none, we're going right to new business. Document 8723, Board of Health appointment, Jose Baez. That's going to the Personnel Committee. 8823, allocation, we've just done that one. 8923, a direct disposition of real property, 147, 149 Essex Street, is going to the Housing Committee. Document number 9023, review and approval of annual applications to HUD for Community Development Block Grant of $1,551,622, and a home grant of $944,075 is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document number 9123, SEIU Local 3 Clerical Union Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, with the appropriation of $112,100 for current salary and wages is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document number 9223, SEIU Local 3 Water Union Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, with appropriation of $15,000 for current year and salaries is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 9523, Reliable LLC Renewal of Taxi License and Livery License is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 9423, Town Livery Incorporated Renewal of Taxi and Livery License is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 9523, Basswood Street one-way from Arlington towards Stearns, continue to Alder Street, by Councilor Del Rosario and Councilor Levy, Councilor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePayne, and DPW Director Jorge Jaime, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 9623, Hemlock Street, one-ways from Basswood Street to Lawrence Street. Councilor Del Rosario, Councilor Levy, Councilor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePayne, Director Jorge Jaime, Ordinance Committee. Document 9723, South Side of Alder Street, no parking anytime from Lawrence Street to Spruce Street. Parking allow on north side of the Alder Street. Councilor Del Rosario, Councilor Levy, Councilor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePayne, DPW Director Jaime is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 9823, Sunset Street, one way from Methuen Line to Lawrence Street. Councilor Del Rosario, Councilor Levy, Counselor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, and Director Jorge Jaime is going to the Ordinance Committee. 9923 Stearns Ave from Basswood Street to Methuen Line, Counselor Del Rosario, Counselor Levy, Counselor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, and DPW Director Jorge Jaime is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 123 Washington Street, no parking anytime on east side of Washington Street. Counselor Del Rosario, Counselor Levy, Counselor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, DPW Director Jorge Jaime is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 10120 Hillside Ave, one way from Havel Street to Yale Street. Counselor Del Rosario, Counselor Levy, Counselor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, and DPW Director Jaime is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 10223 Hallinan Ave, one way from Haverhill Street to Yale Terrace. Counselor Del Rosario, Counselor Levy, Counselor Reyes, Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, DPW Director Jaime is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 10323 Congress Street, one way from Olive Ave to Haverhill Street. Counselor Del Rosario, Counselor Levy, Counselor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, and DPW Jorge Jaime. Document 10423 Congress Street, no parking anytime west side of Congress Street from Olive Ave to Haverhill Street. Counselor Del Rosario, Counselor Levy, Counselor Selena Reyes, Mayor Brian DePena, DPW Director Jorge Jaime, Ordinance Committee. Document 10523 Summer Kickoff Event at Campagnon Common, June 3rd, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 10623 Earth Day at Campagnon Common, April 29th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 10723 Esperanza Academy Graduation in Campagnon Common, June 9th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 10823 Hispana and Lawrence at Campagnon Common, June 16th to 18th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. 10923 Fiesta Shows Carnival at Campagnon Common, May 1st through 8th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11023 Olive in July, Campagnon Common, July 15, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11123 Relay for LCA at Veterans Memorial Stadium, May 20th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11223 Festival Bomba y Plena at 2023 at Campagnon Common, July 8th through 9th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11323 Hawkers and Peddlers License Pushcarts going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11423 Hawkers and Peddlers License is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document number 11523 Raining in the Valley at Campagnon Common, August 18th and 19th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11623 Hoops for Christ Basketball Tournament at O'Neill Basketball Court, May 27, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 11723 Joseph R. Quattaroni reappointment to the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District is going to the Personnel Committee. Document 11823 Thomas Connors reappointment to the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District is going to the Personnel Committee. Document 11923 Appropriation Transfer from Salary and Wages $43,092.50 to Professional Services and authorization to pay prior year bills is going to the Budget and Finance. And 12023 Community Cookout at Campagnon Common, July 29th, 2023 is going to the Ordinance Committee. Ordinance Committee, when are you meeting? Personnel Committee? Personnel Committee? Budget and Finance Committee? Oh.
Yeah, so Monday at 7 for Budget and Finance.
Monday at 7. Is there any Housing Committee stuff?
Yes, there is one item, so we can do 6:30 on Monday as well.
So I think that's it for the committees. Are there any other committees? Okay, if there's no other further matters before the committee this evening or council this evening, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion made by the Vice President. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.